everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Story to Screen podcast, the movie podcast where we review all different kinds of movies, new and old. I am your host, Chris. You're seeing me again, this ugly-looking face, again for I don't know how many times you've seen these videos. And joining me tonight is the good-looking guy of the Story to Screen crew, Benjamin Curley.
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing just fine, Ben. Doing just fine. And another thing that makes Ben look so great is that he has great hair.
You got that right.
Yeah, well, and then look at me. I mean, I'm bald right now. So that's the problem with genes. But no, I cut my hair short, so it looks really short right now. But, you know, it'll grow back out eventually, and I'll look like a broccoli.
Luscious locks again.
Yeah, definitely. Well, actually, no, my days are... Well, I don't want to get into that. That's a very depressing subject for me. But anyway, tonight's movie review is Rogue One, the first anthology spin-off movie, whatever the heck it is, from Disney Studios, and it's also directed by Gareth Edwards.
State your name for the record.
Jin Erso.
Forgery of imperial documents, possession of stolen property, aggravated assault. Resisting arrest.
On your own from the age of 15. Reckless, aggressive, and undisciplined.
This is a rebellion, isn't it? I rebel.
We have a mission for you. A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know what it is and how to destroy it.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
You're the big Star Wars fan. I know that in our conversations that you were really looking forward to this movie. You know, go ahead. What was it? Did you like Rogue One? And just leading up to it, were you kind of skeptical? I mean, what was kind of like leading up to it? You know, just were you skeptical, etc.?
Yeah. Okay. So, when did the first trailer come out? Sometime last year and a half.
I think when Force Awakens came out. I think.
Yeah, it was a while ago. First trailer did not intrigue me that much. It kind of, I don't know, just kind of rubbed me wrong. Something about Felicity Jones' character, I just wasn't buying it at the time. But I'll wait and see. Then the main trailers came out, and I got a little bit excited. I honestly did. It seemed like it was not going to do to the same degree what Force Awakens did. It looked like it was going to try to tie in a little bit better. And that may be why I enjoyed it so much, actually. First shot of the movie, I turned to Holly and said, "This is a Star Wars film." First shot of the movie. It just...
When it just opened, the music just burst and then you see that planet in the distance?
It was the composition of the shot. It was such a breath of fresh air to finally see. It's like, yes, thank you. We've slowed down. We are introducing stuff properly. This is Star Wars. And I was thrilled. I was so excited to see that. That tickled me a lot. And a lot of people are complaining that this movie was slow going. Not for me.
Okay.
It was perfect pacing for me. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know where to start with what I liked, because overall, I really liked it. I give it 8 out of 10 stars.
So you're ready to wrap up your review and just go to bed, okay?
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
I do have some issues with it that we can dive into as we progress through.
Okay.
But no, I really actually liked it. I think it fits into the Star Wars universe very well. And I think it did a far better job bringing in new stuff, but also reinforcing what we already know and love.
Okay.
Far better job than Force Awakens.
Okay. Is that it for your general impressions right there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, gosh, where do I start? Okay, I want to say this. The thing with this film is that I'm coming from, this movie is coming from, or my opinion of this movie is coming from someone who, personally, who just doesn't really care for the whole spin-off movie ideas. That's my biggest beef. And, you know, I knew, of course, I was going to go see it because I'm like, well, I mean, I like Star Wars, you know. I'll definitely go see it. Doesn't mean I'm going to probably love it, but I mean, it's like, you know, the thing with me is like, I want to see the main story. I want to see episode 8. I want to see episode 9. I want to see those stories. I could care less about, you know, Han Solo, Han Solo, whatever else they do, and this whole movie. And I went to go see it. And I was like, okay. I was at the end of the movie, like, okay. That's it. It exactly played out the way I thought it would. Some little things here and there that I was surprised by. But for the most part, I have very little opinion on it, man. Yeah, look, I'm not going to say it's terrible. I don't think it's like Phantom Menace prequel terrible type of film. But it felt very much like a hollow blockbuster in the same way that maybe like Ant-Man was, where it was like that kind of, it's kind of like that, well, I mean, I know this is a bigger story, but it's kind of like that predictability, you know how this is going to play out. I kind of put it in that kind of, I kind of put it in that vein of like the Clone Wars or the Rebels TV shows. Like, that's just the side story. I mean, yeah, technically it is, but just like, you know, that's just, I put it in that category. I can't even rank it with the other 7 films, believe it or not. Like, that's where I'm kind of at with it. And then people are kind of saying, like, oh my gosh, it's the best Star Wars movie ever made. I don't know. I don't think it is. At least, you know.
Here, like, maybe this would help you look at these films. It's how I've been looking at it. I'm seeing these standalone films as the ultimate fan film. You know, here you go on YouTube and you'll watch someone's 7-minute fan film that they put together. Well, that's what this was. It tied in with the lore, and it brought us brand new characters we've never heard of, never seen, never will see again, but done in a theatrical, cinematic way. Yeah.
And that's what I kind of feel. It kind of felt like fan fiction to me.
So you never got into the any of the novels, did you? Any of the Star Wars novels for the extended universe?
No, I never got into any, because one, there's just way too many. I mean, I read like some comic books. I read some of that stuff, but I never really.
See, I think that's why. I think you're a different type of Star Wars fan than I am.
Yeah.
You are more of the, you know, I love the Star Wars films. You know, that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then, you know, what'll be 7, 8, 9. It's like that's your confined realm of Star Wars that you like.
Yeah, and also Clone War. I mean,
yeah,
and Rebels, and you know, the thing with those. I mean, I'm watching them mainly because I'm just helping pass the time. But here's the thing with the Rogue One: it wasn't really an enduring film to where I don't even think I'm going to revisit it when episode 8 comes out. Like, I don't even think I'm going to put it in. Like, if I'm going to watch 1 through 7 gearing up for 8, I don't know if I'm going to insert this one in between 3 and 4. I don't know. Like, it's like, I know, maybe it's because in my mind, it's like, I know how this is going to roll out. Well, I knew how this was going to all roll out to begin with, but I don't know. It isn't, I think here's another problem. I felt like the characters just do not have the charisma, or they didn't have the that sort of warmth that even like the characters from Force Awakens or even the original movies had. There was a certain thing to them that was like, oh great, you know, here, yes, you got a war film and it's very much a war film, and you kind of have that personality confined within that setting, but you can still make great characters. And I don't know, like, I didn't feel like the characters really had that enduring quality the same way that the other characters had, or other previous characters. Like, the first 20 minutes, you love Rey and Poe and Finn and Kylo Ren. It wasn't there for me with, like, Rey or anything like that. I don't know, I'm sorry, with Jay or anything like that, or Jen, I should say, and I don't know, it wasn't grabbing me that way that, like, Force Awakens does, or even like the other movies did, and that's a shame. And I know you can't replicate that all the time. And I know that another problem with these characters is that this is the first time. Spoilers. We're going to go into spoilers right here, folks. So the other thing too is that the characters, you're not going to see these characters ever again. They're out like, every character that you see on that poster are all dead. This is like the first film where I've seen where all the main characters on the posters or listed on the credits died. I don't recall the last. I cannot recall the last one I saw where the whole cast was killed off completely like that. This is very now I give it credit. This is where it kind of plays it's a very unusual film because, and I kind of applaud it because it's not necessarily in that vein of a franchise film. It's not going to be that we're going to do the Jen Erso film, spin-off film. We're going to do the Diego Luna spin-off movie. So I give it credit for that. And I kind of want to see that a little bit more from other blockbusters. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, I really don't care. I really don't care anymore about these films. And it's just, I don't know, like, I'm sorry if I'm ruining your love for this film, and you're probably like...
Well, I'm just ignoring you, because for me, this is the most exciting thing ever. Because... you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, your video paused, so I just...
Yeah, my battery...
Okay, so, for me, it's the most exciting thing ever, because, Star Wars just kind of only followed, well, the Skywalkers. Just this one little part of the universe. We've got an entire freaking universe to explore. And we're getting a chance to do it, and I'm thrilled. I mean, so I'm completely opposite in that. There's only some Star Wars fan films that I enjoy. Most of them just, I don't know, they're not that well put together. But I thrive on the lore that surrounds the Star Wars universe. All the games, all the books, I love it. And so getting a chance to see brand new characters and a glimpse of their story in the grand scheme of the universe, that just excites me.
Yeah, Cassian, Deanna Luna, whatever his name is, I can't even pronounce his name. It's so weird going to a Star Wars film and I still can't remember their names. Like, that's the weird part about this movie. I'm not even coming away knowing all these characters' names, so that's yeah, I felt like...
Well, I mean, I think the names were better done than Force Awakens. Rey, Finn, like, really?
Ben, so... Well, I have problems with Ben, that whole name. Like, that's really that's such an easy name. Like, okay, let's do something. Oh, hey, Ben. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like there were far more thoughts put into the names for Rogue One.
I will give you, yeah.
No, far more Star Wars, in my opinion.
I'll give you some credit there. And Cassian kind of sounds like Caspian, so maybe there's a relation. He kind of looks like Ben Barnes from Narnia, but that was another thing too. Like, I don't think Diego Luna, I don't think he had the weight that I think maybe even like John Boyega had for Finn. Yeah, he's a different character, but I felt like something was missing with him. I don't think he had that strong leading man presence. I don't think Felicity...
But he wasn't the one leading, though.
Well, actually, no one's leading this film, in my opinion. There's no one really here. I don't feel like any of these characters have arcs in the same way that Rey and Finn do, or even Luke and Leia. And I was going to say, when you look at the original film, and maybe this is a problem for us because we've seen the whole saga. We've seen, we saw, Empire and Jedi, but if you kind of separate those films from the first film, just take it on its own, there is kind of a complete film there. There is an arc that kind of works. Luke is, the farm boy leaving his home and embracing a bigger picture. He's embracing a bigger world that's beyond the farm. Leia is kind of this heroine who's going through, she's kind of going through that classic kind of, the damsel in distress kind of scenarios, and Han's the rugged kind of jock who kind of learns his own humanity. I don't feel like these characters. I mean, yeah, you have the whole thing with Cassian, kind of like, do I take out the chief from James Bond or whatever? What's his name again? Max Mikkelsen, whatever his name is, I don't remember. Galen Erso. Mm-hmm. He kind of had that trait, but that didn't go anywhere with it. I mean, you kind of see him at the very beginning. He kind of double crosses that one guy, and he shoots him because he has a broken arm, and so I didn't quite feel like there was really an arc. Jen doesn't even have an arc either, in the same way that Rey does. I mean, there's no real personal conflict with Krennic, who I don't think is that very well developed of a villain. Honestly, the fact that he has a tie, there's actually he actually has a close bond with Galen Erso and his family, and there's no like vengeance motivation. There's no like I'm gonna kill this. There's nothing there, in my opinion. I mean, do you see something there? I just don't see it.
Yeah, I do actually. As far as Jin's development goes, she basically had no hope whatsoever at the beginning. She was, in her mind, completely on her own, orphan, nothing to live for but herself.
Is that kind of... But does that feel like Rey, though? Or maybe even Luke? I feel like we're kind of... If you look at this film kind of closely, it kind of feels like it's a camouflage version of A New Hope, or
No, it doesn't feel like that to me at all. Because Luke, he was... he had a life in front of him. It just wasn't the life he wanted. But Jin's got nothing. Like, this, the clothes on her back. That's it. Nothing. No one to care about. Nothing to care about. Just live one day at a time. That's Jin. She's, in a sense, almost a Han Solo type of character. And so seeing her transform from having that personality to suddenly finding out that her father is alive, and not only alive, but he's got a cause that he's fighting for, and he still loves her. He has not abandoned her. And seeing her realize that, and then having something to live for, having a goal, that was her growth that I saw.
I think we should go into Krennic real quickly, because talk about a character that character could have been easily omitted from the script, or maybe replaced him with like Darth Vader or somebody like that. You wouldn't have lost a thing. Do you kind of feel that? I feel like with Krennic, nothing there. There was nothing there.
No, there really wasn't much reason for him to be there. It did, however, give more personality to the Empire. They weren't all a unified evil face. That there was definitely politics at play, and it was fascinating to see that for once. I did like seeing a bit of that, and it actually makes me loathe Tarkin even more. I don't know. I think he was just.
He was a more interesting character.
He was an instrument to help other things along, but he himself was not worth that much.
Tarkin, I felt, was a far more... This kind of brought another set of Tarkin that I felt we never had seen before in A New Hope, or even the little episode that you saw with him in Clone Wars. This brought a new layer to Tarkin more so than Krennic. Krennic just felt...
Tarkin felt more vengeful instead of cool and calculated.
He felt there was definitely like a god complexity, in my opinion. You know, kind of in that way, and I found that interesting. Look, the CGI Tarkin is another issue right there. Look, I'll just say this. I'll just say this. I felt like the actor that they've got is like the spitting image of Cushing. Spitting image. All you gotta do is just put on old man makeup. You're good to go. Would have been perfect. And no. But anyway, that whole thing.
Yeah. No, I did have a problem with the CG faces. They did not feel well polished to me. Both for Tarkin and Leia. Some people love Tarkin. It did not feel right to me.
For all my problems with the second act, as much as I enjoyed the Darth Vader stuff, the third act was incredible. I thought the third act, everything concerning like the actual stealing of the plans, was great. I thought that they did a great balance of action and drama and suspense. I thought they did a fantastic job with that. And it was also, and again, the killing off of these characters. I'm like, finally, when they started throwing the grenades, and when the Donnie Yen character, the Donnie Yen's character, were getting killed off, I was like, okay, this is what I kind of want to see a little bit more from a franchise film. That's kind of like, sorry, these characters just do not continue. We're killing them off. We're gonna hurt you a little bit, but I love the way that it was organized, and I actually, not gonna lie, I thought Vader was gonna have a little bit more prominent role in that third act instead of.
From the trailers, and rumors I'd been hearing, I thought so as well. I thought it was perfect though.
Yeah, no, and the fact that you also had the ATT, the walkers, that was great to see them there. And then, how cool was it that you actually got to see some archive footage, like when the actual space battle?
Oh, that was amazing! Yes,
people were like,
I spotted it right off the bat, but it was amazing.
Yeah, like people gasped, fans just gasped. Like, you didn't get Wedge, which I know he's one of the big characters, but I think the reason why you don't see him.
But you got some of those guys who died off. It's like, oh, I get to see him again. When
Red One.
That's just cool though, to know that these guys. They battled to get the plans, and then they battled to destroy the Death Star and lost their lives there. But they were all in on the fight. Yeah, that was kind of cool. And then Red Leader, they get the Red Leader standing by Red 5. And cool thing I found out was that was actually the takes that you see are unused takes. Actually, they're not reused footage.
Not reused footage from the Force Awakens, which kind of took me by surprise. Like, oh, okay, that's interesting, because it looked so exactly the same, but it was probably just an alternate take. So that was cool to actually kind of see some of that stuff. But yeah, I felt like if there was one presence from this battle that I felt like was truly lacking, it was Vader, and I felt like Vader should have been, I actually thought the Force-sensitive guy was going to have a showdown, at least with Vader, because, they've kind of built him as a Force-sensitive guy, and I understand, his partner's kind of the one he's kind of the atheistic character, he's kind of I don't believe in the Force, I'm the one that's saving your butt and all that stuff, so there was so I understand what his character was kind of going through, but I kind of felt like there was something a little bit more to play with that character and his faith in the Force, and I thought that maybe
there was a whole story waiting there to be told, and sadly it didn't.
Yeah, that's the problem,
He is he's one of my favorite characters
in that film in Rogue One. Well,
yeah.
So he's not a Jedi, but he's Force sensitive. Okay,
he's sensitive to the Force, probably not enough to actually here's my theory. He's sensitive to the Force, but probably not enough to actually be promoted to the level of Jedi Knight or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So he remained as a guardian for a temple.
Okay, so
just as a keeper, basically janitor, if you will. And that's probably why, because he wasn't made a full-fledged Jedi, that's probably why he managed to survive Order 66.
I'm sure they're going to tell that story, whatever it is.
That's my theory. At this point.
Yeah, what I'm really hoping that these films don't do is that, and I was so grateful that there's okay, that they're going to set up this thing, and it's going to be explored later on Episode 8, and it's okay, you're going to have to watch Episode Rogue One and Episode 8 in order to understand where this whole plot line is coming from.
Yeah, that's been...
Please do not do that. I heard some people say, oh, Snoke is Krennic. Or, vice versa, Krennic is Snoke.
Well, people are so desperate to know what's going on in 8, and so, yeah, they're just grasping at straws. Like that, the whole thing, Jin being Rey's
mom,
mother,
yeah. They completely threw that out the window.
No.
Yeah.
No. I never bought that.
No. Question to you is, do you recommend Rogue One, Ben?
I do. I loved it. I think it was in the theme of the classic Star Wars.
Okay. You know what? If you're a Star Wars fan, go see it. Have a crack at it. Personally, I'm just going to say, you know what? I'm very neutral on it. It's just if you want to go see it, knock yourself out. If you don't want to see it, not really missing much. You're just getting the little missing questions or the missing links between 3 and 4. I'm gonna have to say skip it. It doesn't really have much merit in terms of the bigger story that I want to see, and that I think a lot of people want to see. Because here's the weird thing too: people have been kind of saying oh, is this the next chapter? Is this Episode 8? No, people were actually thinking that for a while.
Well. It's just the internet. We've got a lot of ignorant people.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah.
Who suddenly have a voice that we never would have heard of before.
Yeah.
And so I take that sort of thing with a grain of salt a spoonful.
Yeah. The one thing that I do have to say about this movie that I think it does very well is its action. The third act, the Darth Vader stuff is great. There's an aesthetic to it that's actually kind of appealing. And that you visually can definitely take Star Wars in some really interesting directions. I think Rian Johnson has the potential to actually make something really unique, the same way that he did with Looper, and with Episode 8. And we'll see what Colin Trevorrow brings, but we'll see what the future holds for the franchise. But other than that. That's kind of my thoughts on Rogue One. Again, I kind of highly recommend you check out Now Playing, which is a fantastic podcast, and it really gives a much more analytical, in-depth look at the plot of it. And I think they did a very good job on that. So just wanted to give a huge shout out to them. Great podcast, by the way, and Arnie, Stuart, and Jacob, great guys and huge influence on me as well. Anyway, folks, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. You can find Story to Screen on iTunes. Please leave us a review. Also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Please follow us on those links. And also email us at s2spodcast@gmail.com and send us in your requests and answers. So yeah. Ben, why don't you kind of give people a little bit of heads up of your work and where people can find you?
All right, you can find me at indyvfx.com. That's INDY and the letters VFX. That hasn't been updated recently, but I'm in the works on getting that revamped here and getting some more CG and visual effects stuff.
Okay.
Back in the pipeline.
All right.
Yeah, that's about it.
Maybe we should do, honestly, I've seen some of the model stuff. Maybe we should do our own little Star Wars spin-off, our own Star Wars movie. You use the ships and then.
There we go. Yes.
We should do something
but that's one of the things I walked. Just as a quick side note, that's one of the things I walked away from this film, looking at it as the ultimate fan fiction or fan film, and realizing that I kind of want to get into fan filmmaking. That's a legitimate. That has now become a legitimate storytelling means after Rogue One.
I don't know, I think we saw that with kind of Batman v Superman, and that's kind of feel like fan fiction, and that's just like horrendous stuff. That's what this film kind of reminded me of. Not as horrendous as that film, but it was kind of along that line. By the way, I was shocked no Justice League trailer was attached to this. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, folks, thank you very much, folks, for listening. You can catch us. Actually, you know what? We're going to take a break. I'm sorry that we took a huge, long break. Everyone has been... This is Christmas. Everyone has been busy. I understand that. And we haven't done even a Christmas... In like the 3 years of Story to Screen, we have not done a Christmas movie. We haven't done like Die Hard, which I know people consider that like the ultimate Christmas movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Anyone who disagrees is wrong.
Well, maybe should set it for like Thanksgiving. Like that's what they should do. But anyway, folks, please catch us soon. We're gonna take a break for the rest of the year, and we'll catch you next year with Story to Screen, and coming soon. I don't know if all of us will be available for this, but hopefully we'll be able to do our top 5 favorite films of 2015. We got to do that, definitely. Anyway, so on behalf of Ben, I wish you all a good night, and cheers, folks.